Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this video. Welcome. I really just want to come in and talk about what if. A lot of us always say, what if? You think you want to start a new hobby or a new business, or you want to get into a new relationship, or you want to do something that is out of the ordinary, that is out of your comfort zone. But you always stop with what if. What if they don't end up loving me? What if they end up cheating on me? What if they leave me for relationships? What if the business fails? What if nobody buys my product? What if no one listens to me? And I feel like we all can agree with that, right? Because even in my life, I have had things that have happened to me that has stopped me in my tracks. My past literally hindering me from moving forward to my future, because I'm so worried about the past repeating itself that I don't allow myself to be fully present in the moment and being optimistic about what can happen and what will happen, because I have the will to make it happen. Relationships have always been the number one thing that I have struggled with. And it was because I had this story that I grew up in foster care, that my parents didn't love me, that I was the black sheep of the family, that nobody supported me and my family, that all these different things. And it stopped me from having real relationships in my life. And I mean romantic friendships, even people that came into my life that wanted to be a support system. I never allowed them to be that for me, because I always wondered, well, what if they betray me like my actual family did? I fast forward to where I am right now, where I have overcome those limiting beliefs that what if this doesn't work out? And I jump to, and what if it does? I met this guy, and I guess you can say I have been jaded at love. I have been jaded at allowing people in my life. I have been jaded in just a lot of different ways, right? And when I met this guy, he wanted to make my life easier, but I pushed him away so many different times. I mean, my mind came up with these stories that he is this way and he's that way, and what if he does this to you, and what if, he ends up beating you like your mom's boyfriends, did her, and what if he ends up trying to control you in a way where you don't have any more freedom? What if he takes this away from you? What if you lose yourself? And I had all these thoughts in my head, and I was afraid. I was afraid to take that leap of faith to allow someone to actually support me, allow myself to be in my divine feminine energy and be receptive to whatever comes into my life. I was afraid. And so it was at this time where I was in this cycle, right? And I realized this is like the third cycle that we were in, where I would do something to cause us to drift apart, and I would basically self-sabotage. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm in the cycle again, and I'm away from him. And I'm like, what am I really afraid of? And I was afraid of dying. And that literally explained the reasons why I had the thoughts that I was having about, him taking away my freedom, him doing something to me, whatever the case may have been. I was afraid of dying because I knew that on the other side, if I allowed him in my life, that my life was going to change. The version of myself where I was always selfish, where I was always having to do things by myself, where I always had to struggle, where I always had to feel like I had to be alone, that version of me was going to die. And I was afraid of what was on the other side of that. But what I realized was that that was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because once I allowed him to show up in my life changed. Those fears that I had dissolved. Those fears that I felt like I deserve to be alone because I've always been alone, dissolved. I realized, no, I do want to build my own family and create my own legacy and create the love that I never had in my family with my own family that I build. I started to realize that I was the reason that my life wasn't looking the way that I wanted it to look, because I was so addicted to suffering, and I was so addicted to the outcome of what if it doesn't happen, that I never allowed myself to accept the fact that what if it does? What if it turns out better than you ever expected it to? And if you are struggling with allowing things in your life and surrendering to the flow of what comes into your life, and I know that it's hard. I know how it feels when just things come up, your fears come up, when you're starting to create something new, or you're starting to create a relationship with someone new, or whatever the case may be, those fears come up, those limiting beliefs that keep you stuck in a cycle, in a pattern. They come up. And what I want you to do when that happens is I want you to ask yourself, but what if it does work out better than I expect? What if this situation that I called into my life is giving me everything that I prayed for? Only if I allow it to happen. What if? So that's all I have for you guys today. I want you to understand that you are the creator of your reality, and you have the opportunity to make your life what you want it to be. On the other side of fear and hesitation and scarcity is abundance, it's freedom, it's liberation. So, happy Wednesday, you guys. I'm sending you much love, and I pray that you open your hearts to whatever infinite possibilities that want to come into your life. Peace.